Welcome everybody, Bueller here again. Glad to have you all. Please leave a like on this video. Please make sure to check out some of the most recent videos, some of the playlists on the channel. We definitely like to keep them very organized. Today I'm going to try and go through as many tickers as I can from this little list I have going here. But I'm going to cover a couple things. We're going to cover SPY, the Qs. We're going to look over Chewy, look at a couple tickers and chart them from nothing. Then we'll look at a couple that are already charted, just kind of see what's up. And just kind of put some trade ideas out there, what we can expect this week, and all that good stuff. But please leave a like on this video, and just for a fun one, since I never do this, comment below what is your favorite ticker to trade for options, investing, it doesn't matter. What is your favorite company ticker? Drop it in the comment section below. I'm really interested to see what kind of answers we're going to get. I bet I get a lot of Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, but I'd like to see what other companies we get. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Palantir, so I'll throw that out there so everybody else can kind of go off on their own. But let's start with Chewy. So last week in a private stream, and this is why I'm starting to do more of these available, because I was kind of doing them for mentorships, and then I do them for different lifetime members. So now I'm just kind of doing it for everybody, and I just want to start posting these more each weekend. So hopefully you guys enjoy these. But last week we ended up going over Chewy, and that was on this day here when we were kind of just going over it. We really liked the weakness. What we really liked about it was the fact that it broke a trend line. Kind of had a weak drop out of it and it gapped down, but when it gapped down, it didn't really choose a direction. You know, it just kind of stuck between this old kind of control point where price sat on top and moved higher, and then here from another historical level where they ended up dipping and just kind of holding a little tiny range right there, as you can see. So we're kind of just looking for a move out of there. We ended up getting a move out of 39.50s, hitting our first target that first day. Next day we get a long-legged candle. It already went up, hit that next level. And then from there, for the rest of the week, we ended up pushing up into the rest of the levels. So that was just really interesting. And I just wanted to go over that. But we were just looking at that because it broke trend line. It kind of made a little bit of a base. And then we made a range around it to see, all right, where are we trading out of? Because it could have done the same to the downside. It could have broke 36.20s. And we'd be saying the same thing. Oh, it's at the last target at 31.89. You know, so really big TA there. But again, we're just looking for good levels, good trend lines, and we're looking to make good levels that can give us good plans so we can have full confidence going into the smaller time frame side of things. But shout out to my boy Leland. He's the one who posted that one. But let's go over SPY real quick. So I am going to redo my ugly chart. Not that one. I am going to redo this chart together so we can clear this. But just to talk about the market real quick so you guys can get a complete vibe of what we're looking forward to the market. I wouldn't necessarily say be looking for sell-offs going into this week, but I definitely would be continuing to see how we react to this 417, 415 area, because if we do not get over it and hold on top, bulls will not continue higher. This will be the high of this move. So if it doesn't do that, just, you know, now you have your bull scenario. What else can we do? We can range trade, just like we did here for almost 2 weeks. We traded inside of a range between 408 417. We are back to this 408 417 area again, and it's really between 405 and 417. It's kind of this whole area here. So we can trade in through this for weeks on end, right? So that's the second scenario. Third scenario, we end up cracking 405s, and we end up pushing back towards the most recent range break down here at 399, around 400. So a good $5 drop there. If we end up breaking 397s, another historical level, we are going to crack lower back towards this retest where price tried to hold down here. So possibly seeing another $10 drop. So really big moves on both sides of this chart. And going into this week, I really would be more focused on looking for seller signals, considering, or not really seller signals, seller continuation, because you already have, Jesus, I can't click right. You already have a good kind of gap down from this candle. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Got a little bit of a gap down after rejecting that level, so I'd be looking for any range breaks to the downside right now. I'd say that's like 55% higher probability than the 45% that we continue higher. So not much better, in my opinion, but that's the percentage I would put that at. Just slightly better, looking for a seller signal to break range base, and I'm also looking for a 9 EMA to break. It's the only EMA I really leave on at all times. So that's one thing I'll be looking at. And this is just the bigger time frame I don't really touch. I just kind of leave up a bunch of stuff. I have this highlighted from last week when we talked about the inside bar into the long candle break there, where we end up getting rising volume stepping in. So that's what we're looking for a move out of it again. We're looking for a rise in volume, because over those few weeks we just kind of had average volume, lowering volume, and then we broke out. You know, that could have just as well been green candles with green volume, you know. So we're just going to be focused on who has control, who breaks out, who closes out, who has rising volume, who takes control, momentum, and all that good stuff for a bigger break. So definitely excited to get into some of the plays this week. But let's jump into it. And there are a lot of reports coming out. We have CPI, PPI. I'm pretty sure there's a Fed speaker this week. So there's going to be a lot of numbers coming out, of course, right as soon as we're against such an important resistance. But now that we have a kind of a general idea of what we're looking at, let's go grab some levels. So I can we're between 360s and pretty much the all-time highs, so I'm just kind of focused down here. I'm going to grab that level, and we can just throw a level up here that's higher than current price, like way higher. Right there is fine, and we'll just focus on every level between there. So zoom in. If you want to edit those levels to make them a little bit more accurate, be my guest. I'm going to put it on the meat of the bone. And again, this is called the TA routine. If you don't know what this is, make sure to go to the playlist. Oh, that one actually was on it. Perfect. Nice. But it's called the technical analysis routine, the TA routine. And basically, you're going to be adding levels that break new areas. I'm just going to start with this area here. And this is basically just break spots. Okay, you see how I'm not adding red candles. I'm just adding the tops of greens because I'm focused on the break spots. Where do we push and then stop? Where do we push and then stop? Push and then stop. And I can show you other methods again, and this is why I say please check out the playlist, check out some of my most recent videos, because a lot of them give you other really good points that are on this exact same system. So make sure to give the content a chance, and don't just watch the videos. Go back through the video again on your own for a second or even a third time and add these levels on your own chart while you're going along with the video, and see if that helps you visualize, see how far off we are. Maybe try to do it without me, and then see how close we are with me. Give yourself a chance to practice, though. So yeah, you can see this is very tedious. You're of course going to be getting a lot of levels, but that's the point. You want to get a lot of levels, so going into the week on the smaller time frames, you already have everything you need. That's why we first talked on that other time frame, so you don't get totally clustered jumping over to this one. And yeah, a lot of levels in this area. I don't have to add that one, but I'm going to anyway, just because there's already a high there. But I'm more focused on the green candle. Top of the green, top of the green, top of the green. And yeah, again, very tedious. But trust me, when you're on the smaller time frame, you're going to be very happy you have this. So make sure to utilize the drawing sets correctly. And again, just to how to do that again, you go to drawings here. You can click create drawing set, make a new one, retitle it, all that good stuff, rename it. You know, if you don't like how some of them are named, see how we just have the plain one, and then I go back, I go to my ugly one. It just helps me get all my levels going. And then you jump down to the smaller time frames. If you want to jump down to the 4 hour, just kind of scan if anything looks kind of out of whack, or even the 30 minute. 30 minutes, one of the best time frames. Then you can add some extra levels. You can see there's a huge range here, and there's a couple things we can do to that. We can add a control point here. You could say, hey, I want to add a halfway point here. So you go from range to range, and you add the halfway level. If you want to add another significant level, you can. If you see, oh, there's a level of resistance here, then bam, add that whole area, you know, no problem. Now you have really good TA in between with reasoning, again, not making anything up. Jump down to the 5 minute, just kind of review some of the levels. If you want to, you can go here and you can just kind of review some of the past days price action. But the only extra info that we're going to need to add on all of these charts going into tomorrow is adding the previous day high, the previous day low, which is also lining up as yesterday's open, so we'll have to add that as well. The previous day close. And that seems to be it. We got the high, the low, the open, the close. Going into tomorrow morning, we'll add the pre-market high, which in this case from yesterday was here, and the low about right here. Tomorrow it'll be a little bit different. So therefore, depending on, no matter what, if it opens here, if we open here, if we open way down here, we have a plan for up and downside without being biased. And since we already gave ourselves that analysis on the other chart, on this chart, since we already gave ourselves all of that analysis, kind of the scenarios for up, sideways, down, you know, where can we expect to go hit, what can we do, what are we looking for. So this kind of already gives us a good general vibe of the bigger time frame of what we can expect moving forward. And then the other chart helps us out for the smaller time frames, giving us everything that we need. But let's keep moving on. Let's go to the cues, and I'm not going to redo everything on the cues because we basically have it all set, but I have this set basically the same way. So if you want to go through and see how close you get to all my levels, please do. This is just the kind of cleaner chart. Let me open it up a little bit. Jesus, I forgot. But you can see just kind of added a couple levels from over here, kind of focus on a little bit more of the same levels from SPY here. Talked about the gaps. Same consolidation over here that we had for 2 weeks, except as you see on SPY, we're kind of just up to this resistance, the same resistance right here. If you notice on the Qs, we've pushed over it, and now we're potentially trying to hold higher. So if the tech, the most popular sector in the market, the heaviest sector in the market, Apple, Microsoft, you can even consider discretionary stocks part of this. A lot of your sector. There's a lot of tickers in here. focus on those tech stocks. If you see them still holding this very key level right here, this is going to be a key level. I would say them holding between 314 and 318 is key for them to hold short term for a good pump. So potentially still giving SPY a chance even though they're at resistance. So kind of keep that on the burner as well. And again, ask yourself, why is the Qs and why is SPY two different, indexes? Well, SPY has a conglomerate of not just tech, but healthcare, financials, staples, energy, utilities, just and so many more. So many more sectors than that. There's a lot of sectors. The Qs are just tech. It's just one sector, but it's the most important sector. So that's why it's such a big focus. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that breakdown on it. Let's continue on to the next charts. So we have Apple. Oh, and just to finish that chart off, that just gives you the TA for that. Of course, we still have our TA routine chart. So see how close you are to mine. And the only reason I have these two yellow highlighted is because this was a good old support and a good recent resistance. So it's just kind of like that area I marked in that other time frame. Or on that other chart, just showing you what the area we need to try and hold. So it's between there. But yeah, giving us everything that we need on the bigger and the smaller time frame already, just by utilizing our drawing sets. But let's move on to a couple of the tickers that we're going to do. We're going to do Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, Amazon, PayPal, and Square. I'm going to then talk about BABA. We'll look at Roblox, ABNB, FCX, and then we might check out a couple others. But let's start with this and just start getting some levels up. Again, we're not focused about the bigger time frame stuff, just kind of getting a general clean view of the chart. I am going to mess this chart up, so there are going to be a lot of levels on it. Let's kind of start back here. I was going to start lower, but I forgot Apple's a lot higher now than it was a couple months ago. So let's start adding some of these levels. And we did a lot of these on stream too, so if you have access to the private streams, I would definitely give those a go. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. What tickers would you guys like to see more on these streams? But please comment below. What is your favorite ticker? And please, please, please leave a like on this video. Trying to get 30 likes, at least 20 to 30 likes per video. So far, you guys have been kicking that goal completely. Thank you so much. Let's keep going. Looks like I end up getting all the levels I'm looking for on that chart. You can see it just kind of gives us a general view. There's a bit of a wide space here between 165 171. Let's go see what we can do to fill that in without making anything up. I see there's another one kind of right here and above it. So let's just cheat. We're going to go from that level to this level, and we're going to grab the orange one, the halfway point. It's just a big fancy way of saying the halfway point of this range. Algos use these ranges, and these levels have been back tested multiple times, but basically you're just grabbing the halfway point of an important range. So you can't do this if the two levels you're grabbing from don't make sense. It has to make sense. So I have an emerging candle here, I have one here. If I grab the halfway point of that, it is going to be a useful level. And look at that. Just by adding it, it ended up being used as support later on. So that just goes to show how effective these levels can truly be as long as you're marking them correctly. And if you ever see another big range like that, you can look around for price action as well. You don't have to succumb straight to that halfway point every single time. But it is just super easy to do, so I do recommend it a lot. But you can see we get up a lot of our levels, and now we're ready to grab the previous day high, previous day open / low, previous day close is basically marked. And then we'll add our pre-market high, pre-market low going into tomorrow. So hopefully we get everything we need out of that. But that should be all the levels we need for the short term. Of course, we'll probably add more as the week goes on. But that's pretty much the gist of what we can leave on our charts for a good few months, really. You can leave those levels on forever. Let me fix my time axis. Tesla, one of my favorite ones to chart and look at each week. We did really good talking about this last week. But let's just jump into some levels now. I was trying to see if I had a cleaner chart going. So we're about here at like 860s. So I guess I'll start from about down here, and I'll work my way up to here. And then we'll go past that up to the highs because it's not going to be too many extra levels right there. So yeah, we'll do that. I'll go from this hump here. And another easy way too, and you'll see me cover this just real quick before I continue on. A really easy way if you want to have less levels, and I've covered this in many, many videos, just add the weekly levels. If you want to have less levels that are still effective, just jump out to the weekly, add less levels. You won't have as many emerging candles on the weekly, so just add those. If you want to, add some of the dips as well. Price reached here, chilled out here, came back up, marked that resistance, dropped down to here, rallied back up, and you can add all these emerging candles if you want, but they end up being super useful. So look at that. Just on the weekly here, you can see that 910 was actually a really strong resistance from, what week is this? October 18th, 2021. So a very, very important week, very, very important level. So if you want to, you can go back through, you can just add levels like that to kind of give you a more simple view of everything. But when I go through the daily, it's to give you the, for example's sake. I mean, if I just do that every time, you'll completely miss out that you can also do this. So I'm trying to be fair to everyone and add everything I can. But there are a few methods. If you want to have less levels, less noise, that's definitely the way to go. So I see price rallied, sat here. That's why I'm adding that level instead of doing the CP. And if you want to add the gap range here, you can. It's probably been filled, though. We'd have to see for sure. Let's just keep going, adding some TA routine levels, though. You can see I already got a good chunk over there. And now I'm starting to focus over here. And if we're off by a few cents, don't fret. It's definitely not a bad thing. Now, if we're off by a few dollars, you should probably go check, see how far off your level might be, or maybe I misclicked. You know, it might even be on my end. But yeah. So I see there's a huge range here. I want to fill that in. Come on. Sometimes the clicks don't hit first. So you're sitting there clicking the same thing what feels like 6-7 times. You can see my 9-10 level is a little bit off, but it's not off by that much, so I'm okay with that. As long as I'm in the general area, that's totally fine. I'm going to do one more here because I don't like the range between here and here. Auto zoom back out. Let's see what current price is. Huge range between here and here, so let's go fix those out. And again, if you see other levels in there that you, instead of having to do that, you don't have to do this method. It's just trying to help you out there. You can see I actually did miss a couple levels. Even though we're already inside range, it would be helpful to add some of these. And yeah, see, add these as well. So you can do this, you can do the CP, the halfway point, whatever you want to do. But if you find levels, have a reasoning for it. You can see every single time I'm saying why I'm marking something. I'm not ever just going to the chart and just randomly adding a level. I'm always pointing out why I'm grabbing it. Ooh, emerging candle. Ooh, a new high that rejected. Ooh, there's a continuous support here that price failed to push through. You know, so 620 clearly has a level. But let's just go back and look at the price action. You can see working pretty well through it as it works with the 9 EMA. But again, it's for the smaller time frames. So going into tomorrow, the only thing we'll need to add, and you can see the previous day high is basically added, is the previous day low, the close, and the open's way up here, but we can add it if we want. And then, of course, in tomorrow's morning, adding the pre-market high and the pre-market low to give us every level we need going forward. So hopefully you guys enjoy that one. Let's continue. We got a few more to do. I'm trying to make this an under 30-minute video, so I'm going to hopefully stop around there. But the important thing was to look at SPY, understand some of the rules behind some of these charts, and just understand the TA routine. Why are these levels so effective? Let's see, is that high right there? Oh, it's right here. So I'll add those three, and then we'll move on to the right. And this is Nvidia, one of my favorite charts to trade. You guys have probably seen me do the TA routine on this a million times. And sorry that this video is a little more boring, on the more boring side. But again, guys, this is all about rules here. You got to be able to follow this, or you're not going to be able to be confident in the market. You got to be able to do it when the market's not moving. So when the market is moving, you're not just sitting there hesitating or freaking out. You actually are ready to go. You have a plan. And I'm confident because these levels have made us a lot of really good plays. They're really good for targets, stop losses, anything you could think of. I mean, these levels are basically a one and all. Nope, I don't want to extend you. I want to remove you. Yeah, I really am interested to see what all kind of stocks everybody's going to be looking at. What is everybody's favorite ticker, favorite company? I'm sure I'll get a lot of tech answers, but totally normal. That's why they're the most popular. And again, this is going to make your daily time frame hard to look at. That's why you save multiple drawing sets. So you see, we got most of Nvidia's levels. It looks like I was missing some on the bottom, but I didn't start low enough. But overall, we could still see that this helps us out in the smaller time frame. And again, all we're going to have to add is that previous day high, previous day low, previous day open, which is right here, previous day close, which is about right here. So a lot of levels in between. And of course, you're going to start seeing a lot of levels bunched together more and more. because we've been consolidating. Of course, the more we consolidate to the right, the more indecisive it's going to get, the more levels we're going to have bumping against each other. So it's again why it's good to kind of keep refreshing your charts, keep it going. Let's go to Amazon, and then we have PayPal and Square. So I can see we're way up here. I'm just trying to catch up to that. Marking an emerging candle, emerging candle, emerging candle, another emerging candle. Damn, I cannot keep that one marked. There we go. And if you've made it this far through the video, you're a true warrior. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your service here to the community, because I am definitely nothing without you guys. That's what a lot of content creators kind of take advantage of. They kind of forget where they come from, but not Bueller. Bueller loves his community. Let's keep grabbing some of these. And you can see I'm well above current price. We can go back to where we were in the 140s. And anytime the chart has a big jump, it's going to ruin the zoom in on the chart. So I'm just trying to get around that. All right, so we're in the 140 area. Looks like I'm missing a level in between here. Grab that halfway point. Delete. I like this range. It makes sense because I have two levels. Let's grab that range. Whoops. Remove. Go back over to the far right, just kind of see how it looks. Looking pretty good. And then, of course, tomorrow. And you don't have to add these today if you don't want to, because, of course, the pre-market's going to move around. So if you just want to wait to add all of your short-term time frame levels, you can. But I do it just for good habit to kind of remind me, like, hey, add your pre-market high, dude. Previous day open, previous day close. So again, and the point of this is, no matter where we open, you have a plan for both sides. No matter where you go, there's another level, there's another step. You know, so you wait for rising volume to break it, you start targeting the next one. You see lowering volume head to a level, can possibly look for a reversal, and vice versa for the bears. Let's go to PayPal. And I was going to do PayPal and Square just because I'm very sure I'm going to get a lot of requests to do them in the near term, so I thought I'd get them out of the way now. Both of them just had earnings, so we can start to look for better plays. I really like how PayPal's kind of up and looking like it wants to come fill this gap. So even if it doesn't go up again quite yet, it still looks really good for a gap fill play down to here. And we can even start to look towards the old resistance where we just broke out recently. So I'm kind of focused on this area more so than from 89 to here. I'm kind of focused on here to here. You can see that lines up with my fibs, but also I'm worried about that instead of worrying about from here to here. You want to be focused on where we broke out from. There really wasn't a slowdown during all of this. Just because you had an inside bar doesn't necessarily mean slowdown. But maintain green, green doji, green hammer, see another green, and then we have our earnings. So of course it's going to mess the chart up, but we can look for a potential gap fill. We can look for a bounce play at any of these three levels. So we're going to be looking at that, and then on Square, it's kind of the same thing, but a little different. And I'm going to do the TA routine on this, but I wanted to show you PayPal to kind of give me a starter into the Square chart. But they're kind of in the same seat. You can see we're kind of approaching, there's like this little bit of ugly support all around here, all in this area. We're kind of approaching that, as well as old resistance that we just got up to. So you might see a slowdown popping up here, but it might also lead to a better move. So if we do see some red this week, look for some pullback in this. It can pull back all the way to 74, really. I mean, that could be a really nice pullback. So kind of the same scenario as PayPal, where there is no slowdown in between this until just now. So if there is red this week, look for it to try and pull back towards this, towards all the way into the end of that week. Maybe even see it down here at the 71. So potentially looking at that this week on both of those charts. But let's jump out and do the on the time frame and do the TA routine. So in between here and here, and if it helps you, extend this to the left like this, just to kind of give you a good starting range if you're not really good at kind of eyeballing it. And it'll give you a really good starting point. Let me just get a couple below, and then we'll continue on. Let's delete that one. Jesus, I'm gonna keep doing that. I try to click and go to the next one without dropping the first one. Get ahead of myself. I just did it again. And yeah, very, very tedious. I've always said this. I try not to hide anything of what I do, charting, trading. There are some things that are inaccurate. There are some inconsistencies, but I have completely taken that out of all my strategies. There is no inconsistency. So if something loses, you just lost. There is a such thing as losing a good chart. So you have to get used to losing. Be a good loser. Therefore, when you're a winner, you're completely humble, ready to go. It looks like we end up getting all those levels marked in between that range, but I need to go a little bit higher. And yeah, you don't have to necessarily jump down to the 5-minute. I just always do it for good example's sake. We could see, gonna have a little bit of high IV going into next week, of course on Square, but at least we have the levels ready. And of course you can add your previous day high, previous day low open, all that good stuff, and you have all the good levels for tomorrow. So even if it starts up here, down here, down here, you can use all these levels as stop losses, targets, breakouts, and it'll be really helpful. So definitely play that alongside the market momentum, but that's Square. And that was all the charts I was gonna do TA routine on. The rest of them I'm just gonna do some general TA on. So BABA, I wanted to show you guys something on the weekly. So I have this trend line drawn from the daily, and it shows a really big resistance there, and we're kind of out of it, on top of it now. We haven't broken this level yet either, so we're kind of between this range right now. Kind of between the range of where we jumped up to where we held from the low. So we're in a very big range. As you can see, it's about a $50-$51 range. So kind of focused on that, and then two other things: supply and demand. From short term, where did we reverse? When we jumped up here, where did we reverse from? We slowed down from here. So I'm going to grab the top of my green candle in the area. You can see we have a huge area of supply. But at the same time, where did we reverse from in this area to the upside? It's from here. So I'm going to go from there to the top of my red candle. You can see there's really only a small area of balanced price information on the weekly time frame, right? So it's a very, very small area. So we're going to kind of be watching all of this. So jump back down to the daily. And I'm going to draw the daily supply zone. So where did we reverse before going back up to the top of our red candle? That would be about right here. So there's demand there, sorry. And where did we reverse to the bottom of our last green candle? About right there. So there's going to be supply there, heavy amounts of supply. So we can look between this area instead of that kind of chunkier weekly. But I wanted to show you that just because it is very important. And then also grabbing some of the TA routine. If you want to go to the far left, you can. I'm going to be way more focused on the recent price action though. As you can see, we held one low, a second low, a third low, and then we rallied. So let's add some of those levels. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. So let's add some of those levels after that last bounce. We can add this resistance here if we want. We had a good one here, a very good one here, which you can see lines up with the highs over here, and the tweezer top from right there, which we actually posted the tweezer top in chat, and then weeks before we had posted the breakout on this as it was holding back on the retest. So we've had two really good plays on this. I'm looking to get into it again now that earnings are behind us. So we, like I said on the other chart on PayPal and Square, this will still have high IV because earnings did just happen, but I'm going to continue to want to have the TA ready. But yeah, let's get a couple more levels going, just to get some good general levels up on the chart. So that'll help us out when we want to day trade for the most part. But already you can see kind of the full picture of the chart. We're in range. We're just looking to play plays all inside of this until it breaks out. So really big range. It could be months before it ever gets out of this range, regardless of what happens in China, Taiwan, what happens with Chinese tickers that are posted on the New York Stock Exchange. So let's pay attention to that. But BABA, huge watch for me. They have really big movement and really good liquid price action. So we'll definitely be a part of that chart if I can. So you'll definitely be seeing that posted. And then Roblox, I wanted to do the just kind of general breakdown. Back it out. So you can see we've never been this low before. They've cracked even IPO prices. And then made their ways all the way down to 21s, and they've slowly made a higher low and worked themselves all the way back up to not the top of this area, but pretty close. So we could potentially look for slowdowns against this. If they break this out, we could potentially see them hit 57. But either way, kind of the same thing as I said on Square and PayPal. Look towards that first spot where they just broke out. Not saying it's going to go all the way down and test 42, but there is a huge chance if we get the slowdown this week that this is where it's going to go. And you already know what to look for the upside. So keep Roblox on watch. You'll definitely see that on the list more this week. ABNB, I wanted to post this because one of my boys in chat posted this, talking about the ABNB IB, the inside bar, potentially looking for a range break out of this area. So look for plays on ABNB out of that area for a potential scalp. And then FCX, I wanted to do the weekly TA routine on recent price action, not the far left. I want to do it from here. And I'll show you why on the daily here in a second. Too many levels on the daily for this chart, so I just want to focus on some good bigger levels. Like I said, you don't have to use this method on every chart. For this chart, I want to. Go back down to the daily, just kind of get a good view of it. You can see we've broken down from here, retested, pushed lower, hit that target, push back up, because you're always going to get a reaction to some of these levels, guys. They're just that important. We end up cracking back down, holding low, made a higher low, pushed up, and after we pushed up from here to our first slowdown, which I would say is about right here, we actually held over the CP perfectly throughout the rest of that price action before continuing on, and now it looks like we're trying to do it again. Remove it. So this was kind of where we held. We broke out from here to here. Where did we hold? Oh, wait, no, I did that wrong. I'm sorry. We broke out from here to here, and you can see since then we broke all that golden pocket. We ended up breaking that, but we ended up holding the same low, kind of in the same area as this resistance here. Kind of before they got to move some more, this is where they had to break, was kind of this area. That's kind of where they're holding again. So potentially getting a bullish engulfing on FCX above the 9 EMA with not amazing average volume, but from candle to candle we do have rising. So potentially saying they want to go retest this area. So I'd be looking for moves to this area, and if it gets over it, look for bigger moves out of that area to the upside. If they end up cracking the support between here, look for small shorts to this area where they held that first time. Very, very small area. So if you don't want to have to short that, you don't have to. You can just wait for the gap fill. So you have a potential big bounce play to this level, a potential open range breakout, and a gap fill play to the downside. So multiple plays on the FCX chart. And I think that's all I have time for, guys. We are reaching that 30-minute mark. The only other ones I was going to talk about was Boeing. I really like how they've pulled up, kind of reset, and regardless of up or down, they have really, really good levels for both sides. So keep BA on watch. Solar, of course, is still a big watch. I really am super bullish on Solar. I've been talking about them for a few weeks now, and I'm just going off of, I think, monthly or weekly TA routine. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going off supply and demand. Hill, dip. Hill, dip. Hill, 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 dip. Hill, hill, dip. So just kind of grabbing some just simple levels. You can see we're up against that next resistance. If they can get over 86s, it's off to the races to possibly the 90s, which is crazy to think about. And then, of course, XLE, which has been under fire from the oil futures as they've been trying to recover. So potential look for a potential breakout on energy as you have a piercing line here. How do I know it's a piercing line? Because if you go from the previous day open to the previous day close, we pushed over the halfway point, but we stopped at the golden pocket. So we need to get over this to reach over this breakout here, but potentially seeing a short-term bullish reversal on the energy sector, considering we already have a low here and a higher low here, which I almost promise if I grab a fib to this slowdown, we're at something. Yep. We're at the golden pocket. Again, from low to the high of this move, we've reached the golden pocket and made a piercing line, so potentially giving buyers a huge chance of hitting 79s and giving them a chance to break out higher towards the 80s over the near term. So look at energy sector as well. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like on this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.